So we have some like crazy breaking news going on in America right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of scary right now, so trying to get away from it a little bit by recording this Q&A video.
Yeah, we're like recording it right now as there's like violence going on in Washington
people are,
D.C.
like-
So I don't. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, there's some scary stuff happening.
if we seem a little on edge, that's why.
A little on edge today. So we've gotten lots of questions from the community, so really excited to sit down and answer some of those questions with Steven today. The first one, right off the bat, comes from Introspector. So is there any planned time span for adding Mac support to Codespells? He says like he doesn't expect it soon, but Mac support is something I'm interested in as a Mac user myself. But do you have ideas about that?
Actually, it's actually a good question. I like the way the question is phrased. Is there a planned timeline for adding Mac support? No, there's not a planned timeline because it would require me to have a Mac computer that can run Codespells and or not actually Codespells, but that can run Unreal and can run the Codespells projects that we're working with. I just don't have that. I don't have the hardware. Lindsay has a Mac. We're recording on a Mac. It doesn't have enough, at this point, hard drive space.
That's right.
And even if it did, I don't know if it would actually be a decent dev box.
It's kind of bold.
So with Windows and Linux, it's easier because we can set up cloud build systems for that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I just don't know how to do it without having access to a fancy piece of hardware. And honestly, like, we're shoestringing this. Is that what's it called? Bootstrapping?
Bootstrapping?
We're on a shoestring budget here, so it's not like we're buying a lot of hardware for this stuff. So I do want to support all major platforms at some point. We have applied for a mega grant, so if we get the mega grant, I could definitely say we could put it on the timeline. But right now, I can't put it on the timeline because we just don't know.
Yeah, we're supposed to hear about the mega grant though by February, so hopefully by February we can have some sense of like what kind of budget we're going to have moving forward for hardware and things like that.
Yeah, so it is important to us, but I can't answer it yet, except by saying no. We don't have a timeline.
Okay, next one comes from Mika. Will Codespells have a way to save spells like in the old game, or something like spell slots, so that you don't have to rewrite a spell every time you want to use a different one?
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
Definitely
it doesn't have
soon.
it now, so I don't know, maybe Mika has played some of the demos. So yeah, right now, every time you boot it up, everything's wiped clean, you gotta do it from scratch.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, it'll have a system for saving your spells, and then much like the old one, a system for sharing them with other people, all that kind of like back-end stuff that connects players together through their spells. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like just today when we were working, we were thinking that it would be nice if it like had saved the like previous session's spell.
Right, which is a good point. So unlike Mac stuff where it's like we don't technically need it to get our work done, there's some stuff like this, like saving spells, that's a constant irritant for us. So that's the kind of thing that has a much higher probability of getting done in the near future.
Yeah. All right, next one comes from Ghost Slayer 31, who is a cookie thief, it appears.
I was wondering where my cookies had gone.
I know, where are the cookies going? Seeker of the Codespells multiverse is a sandbox universe with no clear objective. But are you going to add different universes, runoff games, where we have a clear objective? This is interesting. So, like, my general understanding of the Seeker at this point is that it will have an objective.
That was mine too. So I'm trying to.
But I can't remember what information we.
Maybe I misspoke sometime and said that it didn't have that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Possible.
But no, the Seeker will have a clear objective, and it'll have a story. It'll have sort of something that pulls you through the game. I hope it'll teach coding as a byproduct of gameplay, but it's definitely not like an educational game by any means.
I think all the demos we have out there right now are very sandboxy. So maybe there was some confusion about like the things we're releasing right now and how they're related to the Seeker. So
yeah, the things we're releasing right now are just bare like hints at what we believe was possible with this technology that we're building. We're just trying to release it along the way, just so people see that we're doing stuff. We got something to play around with. If you're interested in modding, there are environments you can mod. But there, you can thought of as building blocks in the Seeker. Like many of those environments that are out there now, they'll make their appearance in the Seeker, I think. But I don't want to I don't want to.
Yeah.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
Maybe
right
that's
now.
part of the confusion. Is no spoilers,
Yeah.
but there will be an objective.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. There will be objectives.
And I expect we'll have like mini games either created by community members, educators that will have objectives.
Like even us, like I think we'll probably release some worlds that have like small targeted objectives just as tech demos, just to show that you can use Codespell kind of as a game engine to, you know.
I would love to make a bunch of like mini games with the engine.
Yeah, totally.
Like early on, I think.
Oh, like that arena world. That's my favorite one for some reason. I don't know why. But that arena world, I really want it to like. I want to make a little mini game where it spawns some kind of creature, and then you know, like waves of creatures or something like
waves.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, not something super long, but something that's worth like 10 minutes of fun, just as a good example for what you can do with the Codespell's platform.
Yeah. All right, next one comes from Laurent. In multiplayer, could there at least be protection against crashing someone else's game client and game server? I think we talked about this a little bit last time.
Could there be? Probably, because I'm not planning to synchronize. I'm not planning to let clients send their code to be executed on other clients or on the server. That just sounds like a kind of security nightmare, right?
Yeah.
But your code will be executing locally, and it might spawn some things, and then those spawns will get replicated. The effects of your spells I want to get replicated across the multiplayer environment.
That makes sense.
So I suppose, I mean, the only way you could crash it then is if you spawn so much stuff that, you know,
and
it
like
can't
their
be
computer
synchronized.
can't handle it, but yours can, or something.
Yeah, or maybe you're just being a troll and you're crashing it for everyone. So yeah, I guess if we're able to sort of police what you, like how many side effects your spells have had, or how many game objects you're allowed to have in the world, that could probably be used as a sort of like crash protection. So I think so. Yeah, I don't see any technological barriers off the top of my head for that.
That's good.
Cool.
We have another one from Mika. If Codespell's The Seeker will be used as a way to teach programming, will there also be parts to teach about cybersecurity or other more complex programming-related subjects? That's cool. I'd love to teach stuff about cybersecurity through Codespells.
I think so. I think the answer is... Well, okay, so through Codespells, the answer is just yes, absolutely. We could definitely make things to teach cybersecurity. That would be pretty sweet. Yeah. So let's put cybersecurity aside for a second. I have some ideas about that, but they're kind of fuzzy. But other complex coding-related subjects or programming-related subjects, I think so, because it's a 3D world, and you know, I've already kind of made like machines and stuff, you know, in that world, and I think it could be used as a nice way to like illustrate difficult like computer science concepts, you know.
Yeah.
Like when we teach variables, sometimes I draw like a boring T-chart, and I'm like, okay, X gets the value of 1, and then when we go through the loop, it changes, cross out the 1, and now it's a 2. And it's just not like super engaging, I guess, to students, you know, just you know, having to draw little T-tables. But, I mean, yeah, you could build like a whole like 3D simulation of some kind of abstract machine and like actually literally watch it work in front of you. Kind of like people used to do in Minecraft with all those like crazy redstone contraptions.
Stuff.
Like doing stuff like with redstone, but in Codespells, I think that would definitely be possible.
That's the dream.
And and then you could use your code to affect those weird machine-like systems, and the systems themselves could cast spells. Like you could have some weird interactions between. Bless you. You can have some weird interactions between these like machines in the environment and then your code as well. I will say I do want to point out the Seeker is not necessarily meant itself to be. It's not something that puts education front and center. It's not an educational game, because that's kind of our philosophy, is that, you know, the best educational games don't try to be educational.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily to teach introductory programming, because like the second you say something's supposed to teach introductory programming, it's like it's got to teach if statements, it's got to teach loops, it's got to teach variables.
It's not going to have a curriculum.
Yeah, and it's like I don't want to like have that way of slicing up what coding is be what slices up how the game works. I want just what is the most fun for the player. You know, the best user experience to be how the game gets structured.
Yeah, and the user kind of naturally learns some coding along the way just through gameplay
Yeah.
and having fun and exploring. And
Yeah, like I guess an example would be like reading a storybook to a child, right? That storybook isn't like the author wasn't like, I wrote this story to teach the child English. But but in spite of that, the child learns English as you read to the child. And now, I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying that Codespell The Seeker is for children. It's not. But it's the same idea. It's like as authors of Codespell The Seeker, there's gonna be coding in it. You're gonna have to code to play the game.
Yeah.
You'll learn something about coding by doing it. But definitely not like trying to make sure that we hit all of the core concepts, all of the computer science standards. It's not like it aligns with Common Core computer science standards in America or anything like that. So
yeah. All right, I got one last question from Serpofaga. While it's obviously not a priority, can the performance be improved, as the demo builds are slightly laggy, just a little bit right now?
I don't know, actually, I would say that might be a priority.
Yeah.
And this is actually...
Somebody else mentioned this recently on Reddit.
Yeah.
I think we saw a comment today, someone who had just tried out one of the builds on their laptop. I don't know like what kind of laptop they had, but they were saying that the FPS was really low for them.
Yeah.
So maybe prioritizing that for this next week.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that's a little tricky, like, because, I mean, obviously... The demo builds worked fine on my computer.
Our fancy developer computers.
Yeah, I mean, it worked fine on the cloud computer, and it worked fine on my, just my a few years old Windows laptop. But it has a nice graphics card, so
it's a pretty good one.
So we can probably get it to work okay. But then I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's good to know that it's not super smooth for other people. I didn't know that. So yeah. So we'll try to keep an eye out for why that's happening. And it would be cool if somehow we could get some lower end computers to test on. But, that might not be possible.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for your questions. Thank you, Stephen, for sitting down and talking about answering some of these questions.
Yeah, actually, can I just ask? So with Serpofaga and really anyone else, if you tried it and it is slow and it's laggy, it'd be nice to know what the specs are for your computer.
Yeah, send us your specs. That would be really helpful. So, like, what is that? Graphics
card, RAM, whatever. They're gamers. They know what specs are. Whatever you think whatever you think is would help us figure out what machines it's running well on, what ones it's not. And if they're like comparable games where you're like, oh, I play Arc and it's fine, but I played Codespell and it's laggy, I would like to know that
would be
too,
really good to know. Yeah.
So like if you got a great graphics card and there's no reason it shouldn't work, but it's still slow, then I don't know. I would like to know. Yeah. This is the kind of thing where it's like kind of hard for us to do it alone. We need the community there playing the game. So it's good to know that it's slow for some people. It's good to know it's not that slow, but still, I want to keep an eye on that.
Yep. All right, so send us your specs, send us more questions, and the Discord question submission channel. That would be awesome. Yeah, and we're crossing our fingers that today ends well.
I know,
If you're in DC,
I hope, stay safe.
Stay safe, everyone.